Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's your pal Wes. You read the title, you saw the thumbnail. The Digitakt has gotten its most impressive and substantial update ever, in my opinion. Has it reached its final form? I'll talk all about like a bunch of random stuff, my thoughts on the future of the Digitakt at the end of the video and a whole bunch of other things, but let's get right into it. We got so many goodies. So right off top, let's talk about what we got. We got grid-based recording, we got time stretching, we got slicing, and we also got a very fun sample rate reduction, which is different than bit reduction. We'll talk about it. These updates keep on coming. Mommy Elektron provides. I feel like these are the things that people have most asked for in the past. So you know what? Maybe we just keep asking for more stuff. Maybe we can bully these folks into giving us, you know, some more goodies. But let's take a look at what we got today. It's like Christmas over here. So I think the thing that's gonna excite most people is the time stretching and slicing. So when you hit function and source, you now get the opportunity to choose what kind of machine your track is going to be, working in here. You've got one shot, werp it up, repitch, and then slice mode. So let's take a look at them, break them down here. Starting with werp. This is gonna change the controls that you have available to you on your source page here, and it's very, very cool. So I've got a little break here loaded up. And you can see that we are getting some time stretching in there. And you can also see that we've changed the controls here. So what werp feels like to me is kind of an internal process that enables the time stretching kind of hack that the Digitakt has had for a while. It kind of allows you to set, you know, how many bars your sample is and then what sort of segment that it's going to, you know, kind of the precision of the werping algorithm here. So, you know, if we set it down to 2 bars there, it's gonna be a little much faster. And that's kind of more, you know, on point to what we've got. And you can hear a little bit of flutteriness in there. So yeah, if we're just looking at our little sample that we've got here, it's a 4-bar loop, so, you know, we can turn this down. And you'll start to hear the kind of artifacts in there, right? You've also got the ability to change the play mode between like forward loop. And you can, of course, do that all on the fly there. So very cool, very awesome. Really, really into it. So that's very cool. We love it. You can also have a chromatic mode in werping. But, you know, that is gonna kind of change up the way that the warping takes place there. Excuse me, the werping. Now, I personally am a little bit more into the repitch mode here, which feels kind of like a little bit more of a classic time stretching from like older samplers style algorithm. And what this is gonna do is it's going to, of course, still time stretch. You see, you've still got the bar parameter, the start, the length there, but now it's going to pitch as you go up and pitch down as you go down. And whatever they've done here with this algorithm is mwah, mwah. Let's take a listen to it. So that's really, really fun. We can also like go way, way down. And it follows just absolutely beautifully, you know what I mean here? You do have your tune disabled there, but that's gonna be a little bit of a trade-off. I think that in the coming months, exploring and finding out which of these two time stretching algorithms is gonna be, you know, more effective for whatever sample you're dealing with is gonna be very important, very fun, and you know, it's just absolutely cool as heck that they were able to update this and give us all these new features. So, I love it. Thank you, Elektron. Also, I will say before we move on that just like the last update, nobody gave me a manual. Hey, if you could put me in that beta group, I would really appreciate it. So I'm just kind of shooting around in the dark here, playing around with things and figuring them out. So if I say anything that is proven blatantly wrong on Wednesday, you know what? I'm gonna be doing live streams, all sorts of updates. This is very much not the last video on the Digitakt. So corrections, updates, pinned comments, you know what it is. So let's take a look at the final machine mode that Elektron has blessed us with today, the slice mode, which is another incredibly exciting, super versatile, and ooh baby, we're gonna have some fun with this one. So once again, we can see that our controls have changed on the source page here. And you've got, let's go to the waveform display here, and we can increase the amount of slices here with the grid all the way up to 64, which is very, very fun. I'm gonna leave this at 8 for the time being. And then you can also change the length and the, you know, where the slice, well, this is easier to see. You can change kind of what the primary slice is here. So we could have it, you know, be like, you know, so that's very fun and very cool. The length is gonna kind of show us how many slices it's gonna play here. So, you know, if we go down to 2 and then, you know, so that's very, very cool. You've also got your tune available in this mode, so. And that is also additionally very helpful. So if we put this in a chromatic mode, boop, and pull up a little keyboard here, I'm gonna increase the slice depth here. We can play each slice on a keyboard. You can plug in a MIDI keyboard and do this as well, but whoa, that was bad. So that is very cool and fun because it's gonna allow you to play things on the fly here. And that is just, ooh, baby, that's very, very cool. You've also got the ability to change the play mode in this setting. You know, and that's just great. I love it. It doesn't really look like at the moment you can do too much moving of where the slices are. It looks like they're kind of linearly placed along the waveform there, but I'll take it. I will absolutely take it, you know? You can't have everything, kids. So slicing allows you to kind of like rearrange existing loops. It's very, very fun. In the context of the Elektron sequencer, this is incredibly powerful. If you're familiar with the octatrack slicing and everything like that, you already know this, and you're probably sitting here saying, well, gosh darn it, this looks like a lot of fun too. What does the octatrack really have on top of the Digitakt nowadays? We'll talk about that at the end. But we gotta keep on rolling. I feel like the only person who's not gonna be stoked about this update is the bad gear guy, because now his Digitakt video is just filled with lies. Lies and misinformation. I'm just kidding. I love Audio Pills. He's a wonderful creator and an amazingly funny and talented dude. But you might want to take a look at updating your Digitakt video because it's got song mode, it's got time stretching, it's got all the stuff for the most part that we kind of knocked on there in that video. So, you know, if you want to update that. Now, along with all of the changes to the source page, which is super cool, we've also got these updates to the LFO destinations, which are very, very helpful. And if you were using the time stretching kind of algorithm hack previously, you now are jumping for joy because you've still got access to both your LFOs and you can assign them to, like sample slot, slice length, slice grid. So you can now, of course, select the slice select right there. And then, if you even wanted to make this like some sort of random wave, you could be like, we're going to need to put that on trigger mode there. Move you right down here. So of course, that is very, very cool, very fun, and it opens up a ton of possibilities for, absolutely rearranging loops and audio files and creating something incredibly new and different out of, what you already got. We are very excited over here. So moving right on along, I feel like the second coolest thing that the new firmware includes, I'm going to need a little bit of help from my friend to demonstrate. All right, you guys know my friend Soft Pop here, right? Right? Yes, that is correct. All my friends are synths. We're just gonna talk about every YouTuber. We're gonna make stupid YouTuber puns all day. So the next absolutely insane update is the grid length recording update. So what they've done here is they've given you the ability to record an exact number of steps into the Digitakt, and you can set, how many, and it even gives you a handy dandy, little how long you're going to be recording there. So this, in conjunction with the threshold, is going to allow you to record absolutely perfect loops, especially with your external gear, or if you've got, pre-made loops from Ableton and things like that, you're going to be able to just get them in there, and it is quite nice. So I've got the Digitakt and the Soft Pop synced here. I've set my threshold. We're going to arm the recorder, and then I've got a very basic just kick snare pattern programmed into this Digitakt here, just for reference. And we're gonna let's just give it a rip. All right, and there it is. So here is our beautiful loop, right? Let's preview. Beautiful. So we could actually save that now, and we're not going to name it. I don't feel like naming it, right? So we've saved it, and now let's just put it on track 8 there. Done, fun on a bun, and we'll close that window. And then what have we got here but that perfect loop, right? So now we can just increase the envelope time there, and we could put a bada bing right there. And then what we could also do is, per track, scale that, and then let's set it down to 1/8 so we are getting the exact length. I mean, I could just make the sequence longer, but you know what? I don't really feel like it, so let's turn the Soft Pop just completely off here and see how this sounds. Oh, we forgot to do something here. We forgot to set the master length to a division that is longer than our pattern there. So let's do that. And then we could also just turn the channel length up too here, I guess, you know. Actually, we don't need to do that. We'll set that at 16. All right, so there we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's see. All right, and you know, see, like, I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Da, 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 da. But, you know, we could also now go in here and repitch it, right? And so, yeah, as you can see, all of these new additions in this update are all going to work together very, very well. So we can maybe say this is now 8 bars here. So this is sick. This is very cool. No more sitting around trying to mess with the loops and you know, trying to just like, bah, dial in that. We've got a visitor. We've got a Mr. Mako visitor. Ugh. Mr. Mako gets very excited about perfect loops as well. So, you know, say hi, Mr. Mako. Okie doke. This is the doggy distraction minute. Hello, Mr. Mako. How are you today? I'll take this doggy distraction minute to remind you that if you are digging this video, this kind of weird, unhinged madness look at an update, you could, you know, hit the like button, you could hit the subscribe button, you could sign up for the Patreon, you could just send me money on PayPal. Everything that I make is for this dog to give him a better life, and yeah. Oh, Mr. Mako. Oh, you're such a big baby. Oh, you're such a big baby, and I love you so much. All right, the doggy distraction minute is over, and we are moving on along. On to the next thing. I just noticed that every time I lean over, the top of my hat gets cut off here, so, you know, you just get in the comments, call me flat top head. You shouldn't be looking at me down here. You should be looking at this over here. So, you know, whatever. I just put myself down there because I'm vain and I make funny faces and I talk with my hands like a crazy person. So, you know, whatever. And I shaved this mustache just for you guys. It's not really just for you guys. It's for the lady, but, you know, I like to show off the mustache. Anyways, let's get back to talking about the Digitakt, the sample rate reduction. So this is very sick. It's different than the bit reduction, but at extreme values, they can have a very similar type of sound. So let's listen to the sample rate reduction and also notice that we can put it pre or post filter the processing there. So let's take a listen to it here on that same break. All right, so that's pretty cool. Let's listen to it post filter, right? Give me one of these. Let's make this loop also, by the way. I don't know why I didn't do that to begin with. All right, so that's a little sampling of the sample rate reduction. Now, if we compare it to bit reduction here, we can see that it is a very different effect, right? Now, without getting too into the, talking about delta sigma modulation and all sorts of blah, 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 what the difference between bit reduction and sample rate reduction is that bit reduction is typically a measure of your dynamics, right? So in digital audio, the bit depth is the amount of bits you have to encode dynamic changes, right? So your signal to noise ratio, with noise being at the very bottom and, absolutely clean goodness being up at the top, the bit depth is the amount of room you've got to encode and record dynamic changes. You see what I'm saying? So the more bit depth you have, the more, dynamics you can record. That's an oversimplification, but for our purposes here, that is the definition that I'm gonna roll with. The sample rate is more of a frequency measurement and a kind of quality of audio. So think of like that age-old kind of, steppy sine wave digital audio thing there. Your sample rate reduction is gonna be kind of a measure of how accurately you can record frequencies, the highest frequencies you can record. So by turning this up, you're kind of, bringing it down from sort of like a 44.1 or 48K sample rate to a lesser sample rate, which can, in my opinion, increase sort of the crunchiness, the lo-fi quality, if you will. It is a little bit more musical and usable for my purposes a lot of the time than the bit rate reduction. So this is a very welcome change, and the ability to put it pre or post filter is just mwah, mwah, icing on the cake. Thank you, Mommy Elektron. All right, so now for this next part of the video, I'm gonna just kind of talk about my thoughts and some other stuff about the Digitakt, about the music hardware industry in general. So yeah, that was most of the cool stuff in the brand new 1.5 update. And I am going to stream a lot more of my findings here, probably later today. So that stream will probably be archived and it'll pop up somewhere around here at the end of the video. So, if you want a little bit more of a jam musical kind of take on these updates, check that out. But without further ado, this update proves, I think, many very cool and awesome things. First of all, I think it proves that the Digitakt and Elektron, by extension, have a few more tricks up their sleeve than we have given them credit for, especially in the past few years here. I've seen a lot of people on forums being like, no, the Digitakt can't do that. They can't add song mode. They can't do this, that, or the other thing. Give me the blah, 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 blah. And holy moly, patience is a virtue. And wow, I wonder how many people are going to be, just trading out their octatracks, or how many people have sold their Digitakt in the past because it was lacking these features, who are now gonna be like, gimme back. I do think that this update kind of allows the Digitakt to kind of encroach on a little bit of the octatrack's dominance as a sampler, because now if we're looking at this thing, we've got 8 audio tracks here, 8 MIDI tracks, a whole bunch of really, really cool functions, and you're asking yourself, well, what's the difference between the octatrack and the Digitakt nowadays? And there are still a few things that kind of differentiate the two. The octatrack has a couple of extra inputs, a couple of extra outputs, and it also has a whole suite of effects, as well as pickup machines, which are going to allow you to, streamline the looping and recording and, doing the record trigs and things like that. So the workflow is a little bit different on the octatrack, and it is going to afford you a little bit more flexibility, but I kind of feel like the learning curve of the octatrack now it's not looking super duper appealing when compared to how easy, approachable, and powerful the Digitakt is now. The octatrack, of course, has the crossfader and scenes, which make it an incredible processing and effect box and give it a lot of performance edge as well. There's also the arpeggiator and a bunch of really cool features in the octatrack, so I wouldn't count it out completely, but if you're the type of person who's primarily using one of these boxes as a sampler, you're looking for, time stretching, slicing, you're looking for dealing with audio, I think that personally, I would recommend the Digitakt over the octatrack for many reasons nowadays. The overbridge capabilities of the Digitakt, as well as the performance features that it includes. The song mode, I think, is a little bit easier to wrap your head around than the arranger mode. They are very similar, but this is just super duper quick, especially with the mutes and the ability to hop between patterns and just all of these considerations. The streamlined qualities of the Digitakt have just been kind of cranked to 11 with the power knob now. So, I mean, that is very cool. I'm super into it. And the last thing that the octatrack certainly does have over the Digitakt is the ability to record and have very long samples in there, which the Digitakt still seems to be limited to the 33-second memory for recording samples, and that does kind of flow over into the samples that you can put onto the Digitakt. It seems to truncate them after about 35 seconds, give or take. I've noticed there's a little bit of kind of leeway in there when you're starting to really put long samples in, but it's interesting. I wonder if that could be an update for another day. Is this the Digitakt's final form? Now, I think that I will get in trouble if I say too much, but I was given an earlier build of this beta, and I'm not gonna say too much, but I don't think that they are done with the Digitakt quite yet. I think that they are toying around with a couple of extra new fun things, and that's all I'm gonna say. I don't think that this is the final form of the Digitakt. I think that this has more to give and more fun stuff in the future, and I'm just incredibly excited for what else we're gonna get. On another note, this update really proves to me that Elektron is absolutely committed to maintaining the platforms that they've made. The Digitakt is 6 years old at this point, and they're dropping some of the coolest stuff that we've seen, in the past 6 months or so here, which is really exciting to me, and I think that the music industry should kind of take note of these sort of behaviors, because there's been a lot of fallout in the wake of the COVID pandemic and everything like that, where, parts have been harder to find, things have kind of been phased out, and while some companies have retooled things to work, a lot of folks are kind of taking the approach of, well, we've got these very powerful boxes, why make a version 2 when we could just buckle down and improve what we already have? And I personally find that this approach is absolutely very, very good. I like it a lot, and I like that these boxes are increasing in value, not just because they're hard to find, but because Elektron is giving them more features. This makes me very, very hopeful for the Syntakt, which is, gotten a couple of updates already here with the song mode and the super saw wave and the raw wave. And I think that what this shows is that Elektron is committed to the devices that they've made. They're confident that these are incredibly good and powerful boxes and that they don't need to necessarily move on from them quite yet because they're not done making them better. If I was gonna say features that I wish the Digitakt still had, I would say these MIDI tracks down here, while incredibly powerful, I could use an arpeggiator there. That would be kind of nice. Some sort of internal MIDI loopback would also be very cool, very welcome change. And we still do not have retrigger on the MIDI tracks, which I will not accept any excuse now, because unless you are the person programming this jazz for Elektron, you just don't know, to be 100% honest. I don't know either. They could give us overbridge for the octatrack tomorrow. They won't, because that's actually undoable. But yeah, this is very cool. This is very fun, and it's very exciting because it really sets a precedent for the future, and I like that quite a bit. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world to me that folks, come on down, watch these videos, interact, come on, join the Discord. We're gonna be absolutely yelling and screaming about that. We've got just a ton of really cool people in there sharing resources, music, supporting each other. I love each and every one of you so, so very much. And if you feel like these videos are, of value to you and these communities are of value to you, I've got a Patreon that these lovely people are super duper freaking cool. They have, pledged to support for a little bit, whatever, and that's so friggin' awesome. I love them from the depths of my heart, and I love you guys too. So once again, thank you so much for watching. And make sure to check out, we're gonna be doing some live streams, and I'm gonna be screaming on a live stream, making some more musical fun stuff here probably, hopefully discovering a few more things. And yeah, all the links, they're gonna be down below. Once again, let's give it up for these Patreons. They're really, really cool. They're helping me feed Mr. Mako and buy him toys. He's a toy destroyer. So we gotta be buying him toys quite a bit, unfortunately, because he likes to rip the fuzz out of them like a crazy person. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna stop rambling. Go have some fun, go play with this update, and give Mommy Elektron a high five, and hey, that's about everything I got, I think. Yeah, bye.